All right, let's talk about something we've all gone through. You know the feeling, someone says something or does something that just cuts you deep. An offense. It happens to all of us. But how we handle it, that can change literally everything. Today, we're going to dive into how to turn those really painful moments into some real wisdom.
So, let's just paint a picture here, one that might feel a little too real. You made a mistake at work. It happens. But your boss's reaction is just way over the top. The emails are nasty, the things they say feel personal, and suddenly your performance rating just tanks. You're sitting there thinking, I did not deserve this. And right there, in that moment, your emotions are just screaming. You're hurt, you're angry, and every part of you probably wants to fire back, to defend yourself, to fight. So that brings us to the biggest question of all. What do you do now? That single moment of choice is exactly what we're going to unpack. Okay, so before we can even think about how to react, we have to get what's actually happening on the inside. You see, an offense isn't just something that happens to us. It creates a very real internal wound. Let's break that down. A really powerful way to describe this is a broken spirit. Just think about that phrase for a second. This is so much more than just having your feelings hurt. It's like a deep cut to your inner self, one that just starts draining away your strength, your vitality. It's almost like a slow leak in your soul. And to really get how serious this is, listen to this piece of wisdom from Proverbs. It basically says our spirit is what carries us through everything else, even physical sickness. But what happens when the spirit itself is the thing that's wounded? It says, who can bear it? It suggests that this kind of wound makes it almost impossible to endure anything. So this isn't just some abstract feeling, okay? A broken spirit has real practical consequences. It absolutely saps your energy. It puts this fog over your judgment, so you can't see anything clearly anymore. And of course, that leads to making bad decisions. And then, the painful cycle continues, because you end up lashing out and hurting other people. You've heard it before, right? Hurt people, hurt people.
Now, here's where it gets dangerous. If that initial wound isn't dealt with, it doesn't just stay a wound. It starts to fester, and it grows into something much, much bigger, a full-blown cascade of bitterness.
This brings us to this incredibly vivid metaphor, a root of bitterness. Picture the offense like a seed. If you let it sit there, bitterness is the root system that starts growing from it, silently, underground. And just like an invasive weed, it starts to cause trouble, poisoning the soil not just for you, but for everyone it touches. You can actually watch this happen in a pretty clear downward spiral. First, there's the offense, that initial wound. Then, if we hold on to it, bitterness takes root. Over time, that bitterness hardens into unforgiveness, and from there, it can actually curdle into pure hatred, which completely blinds us and leads to awful things like assassinating someone's character. It's amazing how one event can snowball into total emotional devastation.
So that's all the damage that's happening inside, but this bitterness, it almost never stays contained. It creates a ripple effect, spreading outward and messing with everyone around us.
I mean, think about it. When you're operating from that place of hurt, you start seeing the whole world through that lens. You vent, you complain, and without even meaning to, you start to poison the well for other people. You're basically passing on your bitterness, and it begins to cloud their perspective too.
You know there's this amazing Greek word for this exact thing, scandalon? It means a stumbling block. It's the trigger on a trap. It's an obstacle that you put in someone else's way to make them trip and fall. And when we act out of our own offense, we risk becoming a scandalon for others.
Okay, that was a lot. We've talked about the wound, the bitterness, the whole downward spiral. But here's the really good news. We are not helpless victims in this story. There is a proactive choice we can all make. There's a much better way forward. And the secret to that better way is right here in this incredible line from Ecclesiastes. It says, the way to handle great offenses isn't to fight back with the same level of force. It's conciliation. It's the choice to be calm, to be gentle, to be composed. That is the real power move. That's what actually puts out the fire. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to a choice between two paths. You've got the path of offense, which leads to judging people, spreading bitterness, and becoming that stumbling block for others. Or there's the path of conciliation, and that's all about self-restraint, about actively pursuing peace, and making the conscious decision to let it go and not pass the hurt along. And that really brings us to the final, most important takeaway. An offense, it's an event,
It's something that happened to you. It's in the past. But holding on to it, letting that root of bitterness grow deeper and deeper, well, that's an ongoing choice. It's a choice you make every day. So the question I want to leave you with is a powerful one. Is that a choice you're willing to keep making?